Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Candy. I'm a mama to 5. On my channel, I share a lot of homeschooling, homesteading, gardening, day in the life, what's for dinner, grocery hauls, and all kinds of fun stuff if you like videos like that. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some family meals that we eat during the fall and winter. I'm coming to you right now from my laundry room because it has windows and you can see me. And we have no power currently. We had an October ice storm hit. Today is day 3 of no power. We lost power a couple nights ago right after dinner. So I haven't been able to cook. Last night, our preacher brought over a generator for us to use for the rest of the time we don't have power. So that being said, I have my crock pot hooked up. I've started some pork steaks for dinner tonight, and I wanted to go ahead and get my intro done for this video and share with you guys all these recipes. And then tomorrow night, I'm also going to do a crock pot meal, so I'll share it too. But anyways, let's jump into all these meals and how they're made and all that stuff. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below. I'll answer. And if it's something that I didn't share how it was made in the video, I will link where I got the recipe from in the description box below. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some fall-friendly and frugal dinners that we are eating this week, starting with chuck roast tonight. So this clip I'm showing you right here is actually the night before. I took the chuck roast out of the freezer paper, put them in a dish, and I just used some leftover marinade that I had in the fridge. It was just like Chicago Steakhouse type marinade. And I just coated them pretty well with about half a bottle of that just to use it up before it expires. Put it back in the fridge while they thawed out. They marinated in the seasoning, and then I put them in the slow cooker the next morning. Typically I do a Mississippi type roast, but this turned out really good as well. I washed, peeled, and cut 2 pounds of carrots into thirds, and then I also washed and diced up about 8 medium-sized potatoes. Added a tablespoon of garlic and some black pepper. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the roast put in there on top and just let it cook until tonight for dinner. Now that my roast has cooked on low for 8 hours, I'm going to go ahead and get some sides started. So I have just about half a onion that I had diced up in the fridge, a stick of butter, a little bit of water, and when the butter gets melted, I'm going to add a bag of Brussels sprouts to that. Let it just kind of simmer until the Brussels sprouts are nice and soft, and I'm going to add some maple seasoning to that. And that's what we're going to have for a side dish with our roast. And then I think I'm also going to do some cans of ranch style beans, just because James really loves ranch style beans. So here are my Brussels sprouts, just adding that smokehouse maple seasoning. Gonna let them cook, like I said, until they're soft, maybe 10 minutes at a medium-high heat. So I'll show you those when they are done and show you what they look like. I went ahead, pulled the roast out, broke them up with some forks, put them back in there with the potatoes and carrots on the side, and started making everybody's plates. This is my dinner plate tonight, and this was absolutely delicious. And if I have any of that Chicago Steakhouse around, I will definitely make this again. For our second meal I'm going to share with you guys, I'm doing some Crockpot Chili, but we don't have any canned beans. All we have are dry beans right now, so I'm going to go ahead, set these in my Instant Pot with about 8 cups of water. It's a pound of beans. I'm going to set it on the bean setting, let it cook for about 45 minutes, and then just rinse them, put them in the fridge, and the next morning we're going to make our chili. Okay, so James went ahead and started this before I was up this morning, but he used this Williams chili seasoning, 2 cans of diced green chilies, 3 cans of tomato sauce, just enough water to kind of thin it out some, and about a half gallon of pre-cooked ground beef that I had set out in the fridge last night when I put up the beans. When I got up, I added about a tablespoon of garlic and a teaspoon or so of cumin. Just gave it a stir, and then we just let it simmer all day long and served it up for dinner. So I don't have how it was put together because, like I said, he put it together before I was awake, but this is what it looks like. And if you have pre-cooked ground beef in your freezer, this is something that's really easy to throw together. Now to go with it, we are going to cheat and just make this Mexican style cornbread mix because I've had it in the cabinet since late spring, early summer. So Mr. Bubba's going to help me out here. We're just going to add our eggs, add our water, stir it up, put it in some muffin tins, bake it, and then later we're going to make some sopapillas. So I'm going to go ahead and get that mix made up as well because it says it needs to rest for 20 to 30 minutes. So we're going to get that made up, let it rest while we eat dinner, and then we'll fry up our sopapillas after dinner. I kind of fell asleep and kind of overcooked the cornbread, but it was still okay, just a little bit dry.
Bubba, explain what happened.
Sure you want Bubba to explain anything?
Oh no, you keep him on.
I've asked before, I'm going to ask again, what do you put in your chili? James thinks I'm weird, but I do sour cream, onions, cheese, and mustard. Okay, so I rolled out our dough for our sopapillas, and I'm working on frying them up and serving them as I go. The kids are picking between maple syrup and honey to drizzle over the top. So this is really easy. The mix, you just mix with water. Like I said, let it rest for 20 to 30 minutes, and then you just fry them. When they start to get puffy, you flip them over, and then you take them out, kind of shake off the excess oil, and dip them in this sugar and cinnamon mixture, and they are ready to go. For the third meal, we're doing some ham and beans. I already rinsed and drained 2 pounds of northern beans, put those in my Instant Pot with 3 beef bouillon cubes, and then I had a ham bone with some leftover ham meat from Easter in the freezer, so I just threw that in there. This works well with bacon, cubed ham, or smoked pork ham bone, or not ham bones, but neck bones. But anyways, yeah, I just used the leftover ham bone I threw in the freezer, some Creole seasoning, pepper, onion powder, and about a tablespoon of garlic. And then I'm going to pour in a whole quart's worth of water, and I'm going to set my Instant Pot to the bean setting. Let this cook for about 45 minutes. When it's done cooking, I will pull out my ham bone, pull the rest of the meat off the bone, put the meat back in there, give it a stir, and let it cook for 15 more minutes. When it is done cooking, I'm going to set it on the saute setting. Take about 5 tablespoons of water and about a tablespoon of cornstarch, mix it into a slurry, pour that right there into my pot of beans just to thicken it up a little bit, stir it around, let it thicken, and then we'll serve it up with some cornbread. The cornbread recipe I used this time was just a Paula Deen cornbread recipe. I'll share a link in the description box below. We do a third of a cup of sugar though in it instead of, I think it's 3 tablespoons the recipe calls for, because we like sweet cornbread. So here we have our big pot of ham and beans before a nice storm comes in. And we actually barely finished eating this before we lost power, so it was just in time. For our fourth meal, we are going to do some pork steaks in the slow cooker. I am going to season them with some of this French mustard and herb seasoning. Just going to layer them, season them, layer them, season them. Cook them on high for 4 hours because it's already 1:30. We warmed up some beans in the crock pot for lunch, so just now starting dinner. But I'm going to cook them on high, take them out, wrap them in foil to keep them warm because we have no power, and then I'm going to make some stuffing in the crock pot as well. I'm going to go ahead and serve these up with some cranberry sauce that I canned just as a side because I don't want to have to take the stuffing out and warm a vegetable and use another Crockpot bag. So I'm just going to do cranberry sauce. I think that'll sound good anyways with the pork steaks and the stuffing. So I'll show you all of that when I get done. But I'm going to let this cook on high for 4 hours. And then when I make the stuffing, I'll add some butter and just put the stuffing mix in with the juices from the pork steaks. Okay, so now that my pork steaks have reached the temp, they are ready to pull out. I'm going to take them out, put them in some foil, wrap them up. The pork steak on the bottom pretty much fell apart, but it's there. Anyways, I'm just going to wrap them up to keep them warm because, again, we have no power. So, wrap them in foil, and then into the crock pot, I'm going to start some stuffing. I'm going to use the juice that came with the pork steaks, and in that I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of water, a stick of butter, and a chicken bouillon cube. When all that gets melted together and the bouillon cube gets broken up, I'm going to add my stuffing mix, cover it, let it rest about 5 minutes, and then kind of fluff it up, and it'll be ready to serve. I am trying to go with super low maintenance and have as little cleanup as possible on tonight's dinner. Since we have a well and with no electricity, our well does not run. Also, I'm sorry, I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit here trying to film this, but I'm holding a light, I'm holding my phone to video, and I'm trying to put the ingredients in the crock pot or stir or what have you, so I'm trying to juggle a whole lot, but I'm getting it done, and we will have a warm dinner tonight. Okay, anyways, back to what I'm doing. I just got everything kind of melted up together, stirring around my stuffing mix and getting it covered up to let it sit for about 5 minutes. To go with this, I just took out some cranberry sauce I canned a few months ago, and we're just going to serve that on the side, so I don't have to worry about trying to get a vegetable cooked too. Here is my finished stuffing, ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and get plates made and get kids fed before it gets completely dark outside. Here are my still steaming hot pork steaks. Everything is ready to go now. It took about 4 hours on high to get those done, and then about 10 minutes altogether to make the stuffing, and then here is our cranberry sauce. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what Maddie's plate looks like. There is what she's eating tonight, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you CJ's plate. Mine looks similar to CJ's. The kids actually love cranberry sauce, and we ended up going through 2 jars of that. But here is tonight's dinner. Turned out great. And we had no leftovers, and I had pretty much no cleanup. Okay, for the 5th meal I'm going to share with you this week, we still are only on a generator, so I'm throwing this together. I'm going to do beef and bean soft tacos. So let's throw this together. I'll show you everything I'm putting in it. I have 3 pounds of cooked ground beef I just took out of the freezer and just plopped into my lined crock pot. To that, I'm going to add a small can of green chilies with the liquid in it, a big can of refried beans, and then 2 packages of taco seasoning just to make it super easy on myself. And I can't stir this up just yet because my meat's still kind of frozen, so I'm going to let it cook on low for about an hour. Stir it up and then let it cook for about another hour, and we'll have dinner. Here's what it looks like ready to serve. I'm going to go ahead and start making plates, show you what a couple of them look like, how it looks served up, and all that jazz. So starting with Miss Maddie's, I did hers on a street taco because it's a perfect size for a toddler. When I did mine, I remembered jalapenos, took those out, added them to mine. Nobody asked me for sour cream. I didn't remember to take it out until James made his plate, but we did have sour cream, at least for his. So that's it. That's 5 meals that we ate this past week. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys soon with another new video. Bye!